Hello, boys and girls. Our story today is about a seed that was afraid to be planted. That's what the name of the book is, The Seed Who Was Afraid to Be Planted. I wonder how many of you are afraid sometimes to do new things. You wonder what will happen, but I don't know. We all have to do things we don't know about, that we don't understand. COVID is something we don't really understand and makes a lot of people afraid. We have to do different things that we never thought we would have to do. I never thought I would ever make a video. Never. But I had to learn. So, the book is written by DeStefano, and I hope you enjoy the book. The pictures are light, so they're going to be just a little bit harder for you to see. There once was a seed who lived in a drawer in a room of a mansion by a beautiful shore. So this is where the seed lived. Evidently the seeds were put in this drawer. And look at the mansion. That is a gigantic mansion. And this is the shore all along the water. The drawer was filled up with seeds of all kinds. With seeds of all kinds for bushes and trees and flowering vines. The seed was quite happy and had lots to do. The drawer was quite pretty and painted light blue. And here's mustard seeds, rose seeds, wheat seeds, apple seeds, lily seeds, fig seeds, olive, grape, and sycamore seeds. Sycamore is a tree. Cozy and warm, the seed felt secure. The drawer was a playground of this, he was sure. But all was not well. The seed was afraid that he would be taken and planted one day. The mansion, you see, was owned by a man whose hobby was gardening and tending his land. So here's the owner out working in his fields or his gardens, and here's the seed. Of course, we know that's not exactly how the seed looked, but in the story it does. The man sometimes took a seed from the drawer, and no one would see that seed anymore. The seed was so scared there might come a day the man would reach down and take him away. The thought was just awful and hard to believe. He couldn't imagine that he would have to leave. Then one dark day, the drawer opened wide. The seed saw a hand reach down from outside. He tried to escape. He begged and he cried, but there was no place to run or to hide. The hand clasped about him. The seed shook with fear. He yelled to the man, "Don't take me from here!" Outside in the garden, the seed looked around. He saw to his horror a hole in the ground. A hole in the ground? Oh no, it can't be. I want to go back to my drawer. Can't you see? I'm scared to be planted. I want to be free. I'm in so much pain and so much agony. And here's where the spade, the shovel, has dug a hole. And evidently he thinks he's going to be buried in there. The man was just silent. He made not a sound. He just smiled softly and put the seed down. The sky was deep purple. The seed said a prayer. The man stood above him and buried him there. Look at the poor seed. He started to moan. He started to groan. He felt so abandoned, forsaken, alone. Tired and frightened, he started to weep, but soon closed his eyes and fell fast asleep. All covered with dirt, he dreamed he would die. But then all at once, in the blink of an eye, something took place there in that hole to the seed's weary body and terrified soul. He started to change. He started to grow. The little seed stretched and started to grow. "What can be happening?" the little seed cried. "What is this feeling I have deep inside?" His body expanded and swelled and he grew. He rose in the dirt till his head wiggled through. Once through the soil he saw a great light. The sun in the sky was dazzling bright. Here's the picture in the sun. Here's the little face on the seed who is now a sapling. Slowly but surely, the seed was aware of rising and climbing up into the air. At last, the seed realized he could see. He was really and truly becoming a tree. Higher and higher the little tree went. Into the heavens he made his ascent. Suddenly branches sprang from his side. Hundreds and hundreds of leaves multiplied. The branches grew nuts and fruits that hung down. They swayed in the breeze and covered the ground. Then, filling the air with fragrant perfumes, the tree sprouted flowers and blossoms and blooms. Then birds began building nests for their young, joyfully flapping their wings as they sung. In the tree's branches the baby bird snapped, while woodpeckers pecked at his bark full of sap. And here you see a nest. Here you see all kinds of birds. The tree was amazed. He looked at the scene. The sky was so blue, the garden so green. Mountains and vineyards and cities he saw. Millions of mansions looked over the shore. And here's the tree. And here's all the beautiful things he sees. The tree was so thankful and heavy with fruit, he bowed to the man in humble salute. The man stood below, a smile on his face. His children were running all over the place. They climbed up the tree, they swung from his vines. They seemed to be having the happiest of times. And I want you to look, if you can see here, the face on the tree. Of course, it's a pretend face. They don't really have a face like that. The garden was sunlit. The tree was aware of laughter and music and life everywhere. Life in the garden, life on the shore, so much more life than he had in the drawer. A breeze stirred his leaves, a wind howled through. The tree understood that all things were new. The tree understood that he had been freed. He barely remembered when he was a seed. He barely remembered his life in the drawer. His fears disappeared and returned nevermore. The end. Now, hopefully most of you remember or know what seeds look like. Small, most seeds are very small. Tomato seeds and cucumber seeds are very tiny. But look, I planted cucumbers and tomatoes and green beans while you've been home, and I picked these cucumbers and tomatoes and beans last week. Today, I picked these tomatoes from the garden. And those tomatoes started out as little seeds in a package. They weren't in a drawer in my house. I went and bought them, and then I planted them. And now we're enjoying the nice fruit. So when you think about seeds, think of all the things that might come from having those seeds. But think also about how sometimes we're afraid to do things, but we learn when we do them. And I will see you in another book.